DeMeco Ryans decided to attempt a 58-yard field goal rather than going for it on 4th and 12 with C.J. Stroud. What did you make of that decision?
I questioned it, obviously, from the very, very start because you had a kicker that was inconsistent, never made anything close to – they said 56. It sure looked longer than that. But a 56, 57-yard field goal, whatever it ended up being. But I also kind of trusted DeMeco on that.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I thought it was his foolish decision. I thought that the Jags tried to bail him out with the timeout. I think it was moronic. Could I interest you in a stat?
Yes, sir.
Or a number?
Yeah.
12.
And that is?
That's how many plays the Texans had yesterday over 12 yards. They had 12.
No.
I'm not even counting the 11-yard scramble that C.J. Stroud had.
Mm-hmm.
Another number, 0. It's a number of field goals that Amendola has made from past 50 yards.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I thought it was a rough decision by DeMeco Ryans. I would much rather roll with C.J. Stroud. Do you think anyone in their right mind, if DeMeco Ryans had gone forward on 4th and 12 with C.J. Stroud, knowing that the Texans had 12 plays over 12 yards, knowing that C.J. Stroud's done what he's done, knowing that Tank Dell's doing what he's doing, Nico Collins is doing what he's doing, Robert Woods is doing what he's doing, Dalton Schultz is doing what he's doing, do you think anyone in their right mind would have said, damn, you really should have kicked the field goal there?
No.
0.
No, not
like
at all.
0. There wouldn't have been one person that would shape their lips to say they should have kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
On the other side, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm sitting there when Doug Peterson calls that timeout, and I'm saying,
what are you doing?
Dude.
Yeah, what are you doing? I thought the same thing on that.
Dude.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really, really bad decision by DeMeco Ryans. Would it have mattered? 4th and 12 is tough, although it seemed like CJ was in a groove where he was going to make those plays, and we've seen him make those plays. But I thought the decision to kick the field goal was a bad one by DeMeco Ryans.
Look, I said it from the start. I questioned, going for the field goal there from the very, very start. The one thing that kind of tempered that was they knew what they had. Frank Ross is one of the best in the game. They went through the pregame. He was kicking field goals over 55 yards or at 55 yards. It was a yard or two further. And so I went like, all right. I mean, I think maybe I trusted him too much. Maybe I trusted that decision too much. Their coaching, the special teams coach, Frank Ross, the fact that they had confidence in him, enough confidence in him to try the kick. Look, you're not wrong. Like that was my first instinct, like, oh, no. But 4th and 12, man. I don't care how many plays you had. How many plays you had over 12 yards? That's a tough get.
It's long. It's definitely a tough get. It's not like the end all be all.
Yeah.
When it comes to, losing that game.
Yeah.
Yesterday. As far as the most relevant thing I think to come from that, I think that was as good as Trevor Lawrence has been this year. But I still don't think he was the best quarterback on the field.
Oh, I agree with that.
So,
especially given the context of what each team had.
And given the context of the inflated stats, he threw a little screen pass that you or I could have thrown that went 40 yards, do a little dump off to the tight end that went for 40 yards. As good as Trevor Lawrence was, and in his defense, he did throw a dime to Calvin Ridley that got dropped in the first half. The most relevant thing for a Texans fan with that loss, most important position, the position that controls the fate, that you will be playing games like this for years to come.
Yes.
I still think C.J. Stroud was better than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, especially because I'm driving home from the stadium and, sort of digesting, looking for my big takeaway like I always do. And I came up with 3, but one very important one ties in with what you just said about C.J. Stroud actually being the better quarterback on the field. This was the first time all season, every game, that I thought it was obvious there was a talent gap on the field. There was an obvious talent gap on the field. Even against more talented teams, it hasn't been obvious. The Texans have either had the game plan or the playmaker in C.J. Stroud and others, or the defense that stepped up late. This was the first time. I was driving home, and I'm like, damn. The Jaguars have a better roster, and it showed.
Yeah, they have the better squad.
Yeah.
Now, it's easy to understand, they're a little bit further along, so it's not the end of the world.
No.
But some of the areas in which they were better, I think, I don't want to call it alarming, but it is somewhat troubling. And I'm going to start with the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Laramie Tunsil got his ass kicked yesterday.
He was not his best. That is absolutely true.
He absolutely got his ass kicked. Laramie Tunsil was getting completely bullied yesterday by Josh Allen. Josh Allen, you can make a case. You know, we can talk CJ, we can talk Lawrence. Josh Allen of the Jags may have been the best player on the field yesterday. He made some huge plays at the end that allowed the Jags to even force that field goal to happen.
I walked away thinking not just Josh Allen. He was the most obvious one. Kind of ties in with my takeaway of there was a true talent gap, and it was obvious. I thought their elite players played elite. And I can go down the list. Calvin Ridley, good Lord. I mean, you know,
second half, he recovered.
He was elite. Josh Allen, you just mentioned him. Good Lord. I thought Christian Kirk, as an elite number 2 wide receiver, played that way. Trevor Lawrence, probably the best game he's had all year, even though I think, as we mentioned, that it's not like C.J. Stroud was not better. And even though Trevor Etienne only had 56-yard rushing, he had 30 receiving.
Travis Etienne, yeah.
I mean, Travis.
And he had a chest injury. He was hurt.
Yeah. He came back. I thought he was going to be out. They said that he was going to, he was questionable to return. The next thing you know, he's on the field. He had some key runs and some key receptions. He had 56 yards rushing, which you think, okay, oh well. He had 30 receiving and big plays. So their elite players played elite, and that was my big take.
Josh Allen had a career high 12 pressures, including 8 against Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
So he completely kicked Laramie Tunsil's ass.
Yeah.
This offensive line, they have a lot invested in this offensive line. It's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just don't trust it.
Right.
Because Titus Howard, he got bullied before he got hurt. We saw that. Shaq Mason, I don't know what. They traded for him, and then they gave him an extension without seeing him on the field.
Had a big holding early.
Isn't his name Shaq Elijah?
I don't know. Is it?
I think his name's Shaq. No, I really do think his middle name is. Yeah,
it is.
Okay. Yeah, Shaq on the Suns and Elijah on the Raptors.
God,
I don't know how the hell that dude got an extension. Honestly, how the hell did you have that type of confidence to put him out there? That's the big cactus right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Akeem in those damn knee pads.
The big cactus.
I mean, that offensive line's rough, and that's a problem because you have stuff invested in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem. And here's the other thing, and we haven't quite gotten to this area yet, but look, they lost their damn left tackle. The Texans didn't even their left tackle was on the sidelines crying like his career was over or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was fighting back tears in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see from I didn't see or hear from any of the Texans
Grenard,
front four or anything like that. Trevor Lawrence didn't get sacked.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, you have the two-time highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history getting his ass whooped.
Yeah.
To where the guy's having a career day.
Yeah.
Will Anderson's going against air,
mm-hmm.
and he can't even get to the damn quarterback.
Yeah.
So as much as we can say there's a talent gap, Josh Allen was a high draft pick for them. He kicked the ass of what's supposed to be your elite offensive tackle. Will Anderson was a high draft pick for you, and you didn't hear a damn thing from Will Anderson when it came to pressuring the quarterback when their starting left tackle left the field.
Yeah, that was the other note I had when I talked about the elite players. Even their elite left tackle, Cam Robinson, got hurt. And drop off. I mean, like nothing. Like you mentioned, 0 sacks. There was no drop off there. No, this was a tough one for that reason. And then, my other takeaway on this one, Landry, was as I'm going home, this is the first time that a Texans loss has really hurt. You've kind of expected some losses. Some losses you go, well, they got a long way to go. This one you expected a better performance, you expected a better outcome, and it kind of hurt as you're going home. So I don't want to go with that's progress. There's enough of that.
Yeah.
There's enough of that. Oh, that's progress. I'm tired of it.
I'm so glad you didn't do that.
I'm tired of the.
My God.
But it does speak to.
I've heard way too much of that this morning.
I saw some this morning.
I had to turn the damn radio off.
Well, I wasn't even listening to the radio that much. But
it's good to be playing meaningful games. Meaningful these nuts. We've known they're going to be meaningful for weeks.
I'm out of that's progress.
Yeah,
business.
Switch the music, huh?
Yeah, switch to whatever the hell you want to switch to.
Yeah, but it does speak to elevated expectations.
For sure.
It does speak to higher standards. It does speak to a greater confidence in this team. It does speak to altogether different goals for this team. So it hurt driving home, but I wasn't about progress. I was like, damn, You were that close. So yeah, those were my two biggest takeaways. There was a better team on the field, and for the first time all year, it showed. And I'm out of that's progress business. The higher standards need to be met.
I will say this, though. As much as you say it was progress, I almost feel like there was a little bit of regression, too. If we are going to evaluate this team, and you let me know, 713-572-4610. Shout out to the loopholes. If you listen, you are one. I do think there were some regression in very key areas for the Houston Texans. If we're evaluating them, again, we're evaluating like a big boy playoff squad, which is what they are right now, and they should have playoff hopes. I think their chances are still at 40%. So they still got a really good chance to get into the playoffs, and they're facing teams that are right there with them the next few weeks. So there's exciting football ahead. But I think there was a regression in a couple of key areas. Number one, C.J. Stroud. Mm-hmm. This felt Deshaun Watson-like, where I used to say Deshaun saves all butts, and Deshaun's having to extend plays, and Deshaun's having to run for his life, and Deshaun's having to put on a heroic performance. And this felt like, and it feels different than it has the last few weeks, this felt like a CJ saves all butts game where he put on as good of an effort as you could ask for, and they came up short. I haven't felt that way in a while. I felt like they've had solid game plans, etc. This felt like a CJ saves all butts type of game.
Yeah, that's not his fault, though. I mean, it just felt that way.
It's not his fault, but that's not good for sustainability. That's not good for winning. That's not a good recipe to win at a high level.
And that speaks to three things that came to mind when it came to, the whys of why this team lost. Well, I should say two, because one of them is just the trenches. Like offensive line, defensive line, you got worked. Both lines got worked. That's number one. And the second one, those receivers had a hard time getting open, man. The Texans receivers had how many times? You talk about CJ saving all butts and scrambling around and reversing his feet like Deshaun Watson back in the day. There was a reason for that. The receivers could not get open against that Jaguars. So, yes, there was some big plays. And, yes, as CJ, because he's CJ and moving around and scrambling around and buying more time, he completed enough passes to have a really, really good day and runs as well. But overall, that was 3, 4, 5 seconds of the receivers not being able to get open. First time all year. Just like I said, first time all year, there was a clear talent gap on the field. First time all year, these receivers not named Tank Dell had a hard time. They looked very average. That doesn't sound fair because he threw for 300 yards.
No, it's true.
But if you watch the game.
No, I mean, he had to extend the plays.
Yeah.
These weren't within that.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, that brings me to this.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys on the text line, shout out to the loopholes if you listen, you are. When I do mean you people. We'll get to the refs a little bit later on, but I'm not going to sit here and act like the refs cost the Texans this game. Yeah. Let's be serious. The Texans got the most beneficial call of all. Jalen Petrie, first play he's made all year was a penalty that wasn't called. I mean, that was the first time that he's actually contributed to a turnover, and it should have been a blatant penalty. Derek Stingley intercepts it. Texans go take the lead.
Yeah.
Tavier Thomas, I thought those were penalties.
Yeah.
The Tank Dell should have been a catch. I don't know what this jackass on the left running up there saying it wasn't a catch when he had the worst. I don't know what that idiot was doing.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be seen on TV. He knew where the camera was. So that was a bad call. But there were bad calls all over. I think that kind of canceled out. I think that kind of canceled out, especially when you talk about the Stingley. Here's my biggest problem, though. What the hell are you doing, Bobby Slowick?
Oh, the 2 third downs?
No, that was stupid. The third and the fourth, that was dumb, too.
I mean, the third and fourth. Yeah.
But it's kind of connected to what I'm saying here. I get that the Jags have a better run defense than the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals. But I didn't think that meant Devin Singletary was going to go from 30 carries to 22 and 150 yards and 112 yards to 6 carries.
Yeah.
Brother, what are we doing?
No, why are you?
Like, what are we doing? Like, you completely abandoned the run game. The AFC Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago gets 6 carries against the Jags in a close game. And this is after he followed up that performance with over 100 against Arizona.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, Dameon Pierce gets 5?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on? Does Do they just need to make Dameon Pierce inactive so Bobby Slowick doesn't lose his damn mind? No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, I know.
6-5. So you're telling me that we're going to where he gets 30, 22, and then 6. And don't tell me the game plan dictated that. I don't want to hear that.
Week to week, man.
Yeah. That's what that crap looked like.
Yeah.
That's what that crap looked like. Devin Singletary, and then you have 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, and you throw it twice. That was almost the end of the game because Jacksonville goes and scores a touchdown there, you're done.
Yeah.
But Devin Singletary goes from back-to-back 100-yard games and Dameon Pierce gets 5. What are we doing, sir?
I was actually encouraged.
What are we doing
in the first half because Singletary was on the field for 23 snaps.
Yeah, and they even gave it to him inside the 5 before the CJ, and I was like, okay, good. Trust his ass. Give him the rock.
And Dameon Pierce,
I don't even want Pierce there in short yardage.
And Pierce was only on the field in the first half for like 6 snaps. So I'm thinking, okay, they'll start feeding Singletary in the second half. It just didn't happen. I think he got into this mode of switching back and forth. And
why?
I didn't understand it. No, I don't know how.
Why
indeed? I mean,
look, I understand that this is a different quality of run defense, but 6 carries to 5.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
No, I totally agree. And I thought he was going to feed him more in the second half. It didn't play out that way. In fact, they got Dameon Singletary a lot more touches, and I was as confused. Pierce.
Yeah.
And I was a lot as confused as you were.
I just don't get why this happened. Like, of all the things, when you're watching this game, it's like, okay, well, Dameon Pierce is back. Well, I mean, what do you think he hit? Like, he got close to half the carries of Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
So you talk about how great Motor's been. Hell, the last time that they were both healthy on the field, you even had
he was even better.
Yeah, the New Orleans game where he had 12 and Pierce had 11.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we go back to 6-5. Like, has Bobby Slowick not even been watching the last couple of games? Did we just wipe the slate clean and say, all right, let's get Dameon Pierce involved and let's just abandon the run?
No,
that was awful.
It was. I totally agree.
No excuse for that, Bobby Slowick. Seriously. And then 3rd and 4th, we're taking deep shots. Come on, man.
Oh, man, that one was frustrating.
Got to be better than that.